Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Peck Em Podcast, your home for all things UIW athletics, and in particular this week, UIW football. So, today, guys, we are going to be looking at the upcoming matchup against Nicholls, talking a little bit about how Nicholls is doing this year, and kind of what we can expect from this team in this game. Then this will be a little bit of a shorter podcast this week, as we are just going to do a little recap of last week's and look forward to this week's game. And then maybe at the end we'll do some previews of FCS games happening around the FCS. So we'll look at all of that. So UIW, we are just coming off of a interesting week when we played the Battle of the Birds against Lamar. And so this was an interesting game for us and was one that I was looking forward to seeing because Lamar is a team that came into this game red hot. Lamar was, they were putting up good numbers on offense. Their defense was known for being pretty stout. They were a pretty good all-around team, still are. But, you know, this is one of those things where UIW's defense was really able to shine and hold a high-producing Lamar offense to just 7 points on the game. Robert Coleman, the quarterback for Lamar, went 11 of 25 for 200 yards and 1 interception in passing. So we really did a good job shutting down the passing game for them and reducing Coleman's numbers, which is no easy feat. And then also on rushing, we were able to reduce the numbers too, holding Kalen Griffin on 16 carries to 50 yards. And so we did a pretty good job here, kind of holding everyone kind of accountable, right? Cameron George, the other QB for Lamar, went 1 of 1 for 75. So yeah, that was a big play, 1 TD from him, but the only TD of the game for Lamar. So Lamar came out, looking to make a mark, and especially with the new head coach who we mentioned last week, and kind of show up in front of their home crowd over in Beaumont. And UIW stuck to the script. No Calzada yet. We had Richard Torres in for that game, who has been lights out for UIW, 24 of 37, 307 yards, 2 TDs. Just amazing all around from Torres, who is a transfer from Nebraska. So he did great, and we've had a pretty good balance as far as rushing as well, right? So we had Isaiah Robinson, 22 carries for 64 yards. DeKalen Taylor, 12 carries for 83 yards. And then for receiving, we had Brandon Porter, again, our superstar over here, Brandon Porter, 6 receptions for 101 yards. And then the transfer, again, from Texas A&M originally, Caleb Chapman, 6 receptions for 87 yards. So really, really good to see it. The 2 TDs, one was by Brandon Porter, and then Marquez Perez as well, who went 2 of 38 in last week's game. So, good game to see. I was happy, again, with our defense. When we talk about UIW, and this is not a team normally that anyone thinks of as being a defensive team in previous years, but this year, we are a very good defensive team, right? And so we come into this, and when we're looking at Nicholls over here, Nicholls is another good defensive team, right? Very, very good defensive team. And so it'll be the battle of the defenses this week, and that's going to be the story of the game. That's going to be the story of the game here, battle of the defenses, and we'll see how we are able to kind of fare here against a very, very stout Nicholls defense, right? So yeah. UIW's defense, right, allowed about 50 or 15.8 points per game this season on average, which is pretty dang good. And they haven't allowed a defense to score, or they haven't allowed an opponent to score more than 26 points in a game. And so these are huge stats for our defense. Again, I'm really happy with the play of our defense, but this will be a big test because defense has been key to the Cardinal's success this year. I'm looking at this article right here. Going to give some shout outs to articles like we always do, especially those that mention UIW. Just very happy to shout them out here, right? So One of my favorite magazines is Dave Campbell's Texas Football. I look forward to it every single year. And they put out a really good article you can check out. And they call this the non-FBS game of the week, right? UIW hosting Nicholls. And, one of the things we talk about is that, and it's been the talk over the past week, has been the fact that this is a chance to clinch the third straight Southland title. This game right now, that with the Northwestern State Demons canceling the rest of their season. It's really shaken up the Southland Conference here. And so because of that, UIW does have a chance to clinch the Southland Conference, really title here. And what we're looking at here, guys, this is a pretty big deal, right? So if we're able to get this victory and if we're able to close out against Nicholls, one of the things that's going to be on the table here is the potential to host 2 playoff games at Benson Stadium. There'll be an option to still host one if we lose. We don't want that to happen. Ideally, you want to get 2 games hosted at Benson and get a lot of fans out there for that. And that'll just play into our home field advantage on that. I know we'll be able to get Benson rocking if we're able to do that. But again, one of the things that that we have to do to get there is just beat Nicholls, right? And that's easier said than done, right? Let's there are a few keys here, right? And there are a few keys to win the game for UIW. The first is obviously we need to have our defense come out swinging and play as we've been playing over the whole rest of the season, right? We need our defense to be keyed in and to be there. And we got to get some picks. We have to force some fumbles. And on the offense, we have to not be turning that ball over, right? I've been very impressed with Torres over the past few weeks. And he's been someone who's, very consistent and comes in. Hopefully he keeps that up. That's where we have to see consistent QB play. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to be him or Calzada. So we'll wait to see what happens, right? And again, this is a little bit of a later podcast episode, so we'll know pretty soon whether or not it will be Calzada or Torres. But either way, guys, I feel pretty comfortable. Yes, I'd like to have Calzada back in the game. I think it'd be good to have our starting quarterback back in. And so we'll see, what happens there. But we got to have consistency, and no turnovers in this game, as little as possible. So that's going to be huge for UIW, whoever is starting. So yeah, but Nicholls, this team that's coming in here, they are no slouch, right? So Nicholls is going to come in here, and they're going to be playing at a very high level, right? So Nicholls just came off of their last game against Southeast Missouri State, 4-4 they lost 35-31 at Nicholls, and so they're kind of struggling here, right? This is a kind of a must-win game for Nicholls here, right? And this is a game that so Nicholls quarterback Pat McQuaid played very well against SEMU. And, he went 26-53, right? Could have done a bit better in his completion rate, but for 345 yards and 2 TDs. So this is a pretty lights-out offense as well. And so I'm going to look forward to seeing what he does. And our defense is going to have to creep up here and stop him because he's been putting up some major numbers all year. Jalen Spears looked to him to be targeted a bunch during this game. We got to force some INTs here as well. Right, this is where our defense is going to come in, and so I'm going to be very interested to see, what they do. Right, so 345 yards, 26-53, 2 TDs, 1 interception in the last game, and then on the rushing side, Colin Guggenheim is a name you're going to be looking for. 16 carries for 68 yards, average of 4.2. But they also have Jalen Spears as well, who went 5-19, and both Guggenheim and Spears had 1 TD in that game. So it's a pretty high scoring game against SEMU. So, looking to see how they're going to do there. In the Southland, Nicholls had their game against Northwestern State canceled. And then before that, they They played Houston Christian, won 38-7. They beat McNeese 31-10. And that's a team, of course, who we struggled with a few weeks back. But again, we were plagued by injuries, and that's going to be a struggle for any team that's facing a lot of injuries and players out. And then let's see. And then and then to begin, they lost 36-7 to Tulane in their FBS matchup, and then also 41-6 against TCU. And before that, 38-24 to Sacramento State. We all remember Sacramento State from last playoff season. So yeah, if we were able to get our offense going, there's not going to be that many, and up to this point, I think we're able to rely pretty much on our defense, but our offense is going to have to put up some really good numbers and really commit and have some good red zone play, and that's an area that we're going to need to see improvement on. We're going to need it to, when we get in that red zone, we're going to have to score, because Nicholls is a team that has a great defense. So whenever we get there, we're going to need to have that happen, right? And we're going to need to make those scores there. So anyway, that's something that we're going to need to kind of see in this game. So anyway, I feel like we're going to be able to get it done, right? So earlier I was talking about the game against, or the article by Dave Campbell's, and Dave Campbell's called UIW winning by a touchdown. On this game here, I'm going to say, I think UIW is going to win. We're always going to be a homer for UIW here. But on this game here, I'm going to say that UIW is going to win, and I'm going to say by a touchdown as well. I think that's a really good call. I'm going to go with that. And it's going to be a hard-fought game. I don't start to see a whole bunch of scores. This shouldn't be a high-scoring game with two stout defenses like this. I'm going to go 21-14 UIW over Nicholls. That's going to be my prediction, right? Nicholls is going to look to have a lot of turnovers. We have to stop those turnovers, like I said. And whichever QB's in the game, that's going to be on them to do, right? Read those plays, make those calls, and it's also, on the offense as well to make some calls that really take advantage of the defense's holes. So look to have Brandon Porter to have a big game as well. I think he's going to do very well in this game, and we need him to do well. So anyway, so this is going to be an interesting game. Again, a chance to host two playoff games at Benson. So never want to pass up the opportunity to have two games hosted. It's one of these games where this is a chance for us to really kind of gauge where we're at in terms of strength of schedule, right? Because that's been a huge critique of UIW, is that our strength of schedule. But Nicholls isn't a slouch, right? Nicholls is a good team with a good defense, a stout defense, and a very productive offense. So if we're able to put up some good numbers against them, I really expect for us to this will be a good litmus test for our team. So let's go ahead and I call UIW winning by 7. 21-14 UIW over Nicholls, right? Let's look for a defensive game to happen here. And all right, so other games to look at around the FCS. Again, I'm looking over at this article here by theanalyst.com. We love our friends at The Analyst. So we have North Dakota State, number 11, at number 1, South Dakota State. I'm going to go with South Dakota State in this. They've been unstoppable this season. North Dakota State is not the North Dakota State that we are used to seeing. Again, this is a rivalry game, though. This is a rivalry game. I'm not going to count out, the Bison here. But South Dakota State has been on fire, and I don't see that slowing down anytime soon. South Dakota State, I'm going to go. We're talking about FBS comparisons. I would say South Dakota State's like the Georgia, North Dakota State's like the Alabama at this point. Both very stout programs, but I really think that South Dakota State's going to be able to pull that out. They have been unstoppable recently. So definitely looking for one there. Let's see. We have number 2 Furman. At number 14 Chattanooga. Again, our friends over at Furman, who we hosted last year. So Furman comes into this 7-1, 5-0, and against number 14 Chattanooga, 7-2, 6-1. Yeah, give me Furman on this as well. Again, I think the analyst has a really good system here, and they called Furman on this. I'm going to go with them. They have been, unstoppable, on the run and the pass. It's been a very, very balanced offense. So I'm going to go with Furman on that one. South Dakota, number 9 at number 10, Southern Illinois, the Salukis, right? 2 6-2 teams here battling. I'm gonna go with South Dakota on this. And I've been impressed with them this season, and I'm gonna go with South Dakota. I have a good feeling about them for this game. So then we have number 7 Sacramento State at number 4 Montana. I'm gonna go Sac State in this Big Sky matchup here. Again, I'm pretty impressed with Sacramento State this season as well. Always have a pretty good offense, and this season has been no exception. So yeah, I'm gonna go Sac State on that one. All right. That's about all I'm gonna call for this week. I'm looking at some numbers here, and I just happen to see this on the analyst as well. So active consecutive appearances in Stats Perform FCS Top 25. Look at this. So 183 North Dakota State, 155 South Dakota State, 38 Montana State. They're tied there for that. And then 34 UIW. Look at us, right above Sacramento State at 31 and Delaware at 24. So awesome. I always say that I came from a UIW program that was just building up. I saw us go from Division II to D1 FCS, and began achieving some success there. And so this, I'm always just happy to be here. Very happy to see the amount of press and attention that UIW is getting. Even a few weeks back, when UIW had their hoodie worn by Stanford Steve on College Game Day. Really cool seeing the brand recognition of UIW growing and the legacy of the word just enduring. So that's been really, really cool. Again, guys, this is homecoming week. Unfortunately, I won't be at homecoming this week, but if you get a chance to make it out, there are some great events happening in San Antonio at the Word. So if you get a chance, return to the nest. Check out our friends at Forever First as well out there, and you're guaranteed to have a good time. So that'll about do it for this week. I hope you all have a good rest of your day and rest of your week. And until next time, go Cardinals.